My name is Jon N, and I'm here to just give you a little bit of history about myself and just where my life was and where it is today, and what CEO has done for my life. Started out, I come from a good family, and pretty much just living in my household was like living with the Cleavers. My parents were older and made it easy for me to get away with a lot of things and fly under the radar, so to speak. And so, needless to say, I'd been in and out of trouble a lot by my early teens, and by my 20s, I've been in and out of jail a lot. And by the time I was 22, I was, heavily into dealing and manufacturing methamphetamines, and so I got busted when I was 23 and went to prison. A 10-year sentence, and it's one of those things is that I wanted to do everything I could to get out, and I didn't want to go back again. But it wasn't so much focused on what I needed to do to change and not go back again. So I kind of flew under the radar and stuck to myself and stayed out of trouble and got out of prison after serving 3 years. So that was pretty good. I was, excited about that, and so I came out and had the same group of friends, same lifestyle. Just figured I'd hold back on the reins a little bit and not go off the deep end. And that didn't last too long. It didn't work out for me. So, by the time I was, 28, 29, 28, I was locked up again. And I'd ran hard those few years out, and really did a lot of things that I shouldn't have, and a lot of things had caught up to me because I ran pretty hard because I knew I didn't want to go back. So I was on the run and just did everything I could not to get caught. So when I went back, I'd rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and I got sentenced to 15 years. So that then and there was a big wake-up call. 15 years, I was going to be an old guy when I got out. And one thing that hit me the most was when my mom and dad come to visit me at the county jail. They've always been there for me, always bailed me out, no matter what. I was the baby of the family. And so they come up, and they're in their early 70s, and they was upset and crying because not what I had done, but that they're not going to be there for me when I get out. They just thought they're not going to be alive when I get out. And that was a wake-up call for me. They was worried about who's going to be there for me when I get out, and what was I going to do, because I always fell back on them. Every time I failed and stumbled, I had mom and dad to pick me up. I worked for my father. Who was I going to work for? Never had another job except working construction for my father. And so that was a big wake-up call. And right then and there, I decided, and I knew that I needed to do everything I could to change who I was and become the person I was brought up to be, and quit making the choices that I had made that I thought were my choices. So, right then and there, that was a starting point for me. And I started to pray. I never prayed before, really. I had a false stereotype of what I thought Christians were, and I always felt lower than them, and I felt that I was even lower than them. So, I couldn't be one of them. So why try? And then, but I started praying and reading the Daily Bread a lot. And then when I got to prison, I got in, wanted to do everything I could. I jumped in head first, every program I could do to change myself. And it wasn't about the time cuts anymore. It was about, what I could do to change. I've done the time cut deal, and all that does is get you out sooner so you can get back in. So it was about what I could do to better myself. I went through the therapeutic community at Branchville, and really took off and got into everything I could there. And there was a program there that was a prison ministry, Kairos, that I had heard about, and to be honest, I had signed up that wanted to go because I heard the food that they fed you, and the food wasn't good there. So, the way the man's heart's through his belly, I guess. So I signed up for that, and I went, and that was a turning point in my life. And I knew right then and there that's what I was meant to do, because I seen guys in there and that had been in my shoes, and they made it, and they were Christians. And if I could do it, if they could do it, I could do it, and I could be like one of them. It wasn't out of my reach. There was a guy there that I used to deal with, back when I was dealing, and he had changed. If he could do it, I could do it. So I knew that's what I wanted to be. I went through that program, and before I was done, I had grown a lot spiritually. I was on fire. I was changing, and I could feel it. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I had all this time ahead of me, and now I went through this program. What was I going to do now? Am I going to sit stagnant and hope I can apply everything I learned, 7 or 8 years from now when I get out? I didn't know what to do. So, something laid on my heart to write to Judge and Judge Trotman. And I didn't have him as my sentencing judge, but I heard about the program that he had, and I wish I could be a part of something like that. And I heard what he was doing with people in their lives. So out on a whim, I prayed about it, and I wrote him a letter and just told him where I was in my life, and told him about the Kairos and the program and where I was. Just told him my story like I'm telling you, and asked him, if there's any suggestions, anything that I could do to continue my growth, because I didn't want to sit stagnant. I wanted to continue moving forward, and I didn't know if anything would ever come of it. You hear people writing letters all the time. And a couple of months went by, and they called me into the office and said, did you write to Judge? And I said, yes, I did. And I didn't know if I was in trouble or not or whatever. And they said, well, he called and said that when you finish this program, you're to go home and do his drug court program. So I ended up serving 3 years on a 15-year sentence. And I just couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do, what to think. I was like, something isn't right here. There's a loophole somewhere, and somebody's going to stop this. And but it didn't. I got out and I did the drug court program. And I had developed a mentor through Kairos, and then and through him I brought out to this church at Simpsons, and they were involved in Churches of Bracing Offenders. And I had a run-in with Churches of Bracing Offenders several years back when I was trying to make myself look better for court. And I got involved with the program and didn't follow through with it, and because it was about the wrong reasons. So this time, my mentor and then my soon-to-be sponsor was involved in Churches of Bracing Offenders. And so I come out now to a church group, and I had a family, a church family, and my parents were involved with a small group here at this church from my interaction with the guys at Kairos. All this started coming about. So then I'm in the same small group with my parents and the guys from Kairos who are also involved in Churches of Bracing Offenders, and this is my home group. And throughout this, I decided, I want to start something. I want to finish something that I started, and I want to get back in CEO. I was doing drug court, and that's a lot to take on, but I wanted to continue growing like I asked, and that's what I wanted to do. Everything I could do to change and grow and continue my spiritual growth and get geared up, because I knew that Kairos was something that I wanted to do. Why? Because I can take every wrong that I've ever done and use it to relate to someone else who's done the same wrongs and show them that it can be done by someone like us. And I knew that's what I was being called to do. So I got involved with Churches of Bracing Offenders. I went through the program and I finished it. And I developed a relationship with my sponsor through that program to where we became best friends, and we're best friends today. And we serve on a committee together now, and we have a class through CEO. So now I went from being in the class to being on a committee. And so now every Sunday I meet with someone else who was just like me. And so I get to be on the other end of things. And it's awesome the way God has worked in my life through this program. And here I am. It still blows my mind sometimes to just look at where I was and where I'm at today. Now with my involvement with CEO and my relationship with Judge Trotman and the risk he took on me, I get to talk to him on a personal basis. And I've never talked to the judge on a personal basis in my life. It's always been how much sentence I was going to get out of him, and to go to court and speak on someone's behalf, and for him to call on me and ask and value my opinion on somebody, it just blows my mind. And and actually to have him get a phone call from him. I mean, here I am, having a phone conversation with the judge, and that's just that blows my mind still, But it's a wonderful thing. And Church of Separation Offenders is something that just has paved the way for me to continue my growth and to help others. I knew that Kairos was something that I wanted to do and I was called to do. But you can only do that twice. It only happens twice a year. But Church of Separation Offenders is every day. I can do this every day. I just got off the phone a while ago with the guy I mentor, and he's calling me to wish me luck and see how my day's going, and then that's something special. I get to see him grow, and that's what it's all about, and it's also it takes the 12 steps and applies the biblical principles. It's so much more. It's your recovery and God all together in one. You get to develop a relationship with God, and He gets to help you with your recovery. And you get to learn and apply everything that's important all together in one class. And it becomes a lifestyle. It's really something special to be able to go down the road that I went down and be on the whole other end of things, and give back, and instead of being a negative influence and leading people down the wrong road and just being a negative influence on people, that I can be a positive influence. I had a reputation, before, and people can see that and say, like, I know what he used to be, and if he can do it, it gives them hope. It's something I really look forward to, being able to go back into the prisons and carry this message and my testimony. And that's been a dream of mine since I went through Kairos, and through all this and the help of this it's a Christian community that everybody's there for, and that you're a church family now. But they've been there and they've helped me along the way and helped me find the things to keep me going. Whether it's Church of Separation Offenders, Trace Diaz, all these things that I could have stayed involved with to keep this fire going. And it's now in October I'm going back into the prison, through a different gate, and I get to leave, but I get to go in and serve on a weekend. So it's really special to be able to do this.